Welcome to CI in 5, a place to get energized by your favorite continuous improvement practitioners as they take on the challenge of sharing what continuous improvement means to them in 5 minutes or less and in 5 words or less. Think of it kind of like a kata geek going on a speed date. I know, right? This is gonna be good. Let's do this. Dr. Heather Johnson, welcome to CI in 5. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Sam. I'm excited to be here.
Well, hey, if y'all aren't connected with Dr. Heather, why not? She is a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. She's got her ISO certification. She's a PMP. She knows what she's doing, especially when it comes to doing radical innovation. And so I'm so excited to have Heather here and share her CI in 5. So Heather, Dr. Heather, what is your CI in 5?
CI to me is radically innovating. Continuous improvement, especially in the 21st century post-COVID-19, cannot be incremental improvements. Organizations will not survive. Already, we currently see organizations are on life support. You have companies that are radically innovating right now, and those are the ones that are doing very well through the pandemic. You have like Apple, you have like Amazon. Radical innovation is about doing something you have never done before, and that's what companies will have to do. So I'm excited to say that that's what I work with my clients and customers. I encourage them to think outside of the box. Do not settle for status quo. How can we do this better, leaner, smarter, and radically innovate at the same time? I grew up in the islands, and when my mom taught me lean, but I didn't know it was lean. And when I came to the US and went to school and started learning, taking some courses on Lean Six Sigma way back when, and I'm like, lean? This is what my mom was teaching me, because my mom was born during the Depression. So her mom taught her how to economize, be frugal. You know, my mom was ahead of her time, and she taught me lean and continuous improvement.
I'm wondering for like lean practitioners like myself who are just new to the journey, what kind of insight or advice would you give to them to grow or help their practice as they're just starting?
One of the things that really helps to really get people comfortable with you when you come in as a practitioner is looking for shared values. So for me, it's learning to respect each other. When I went to like South Korea for work, when the junior people were leaving the room and their bosses were at the table with me and the meeting was concluded, they stood up and they nodded their head before they walked out the door to their bosses. And I thought that was so profound, because they were trying to show respect. That for me is one of the things I took away when I learned Toyota Production System, is respect for self and respect for others. Very important in your journey.
I'm thinking of people like yourself who've been practicing continuous improvement for some time, or people who are just kind of stuck in their continuous improvement practice. What kind of advice would you give to them to spark that practice up again?
So I would encourage people to get out of their own heads. I am a scientist and engineer by profession, and I'm very analytical. I remember my oldest daughter asked me a question last year, and she said, "Mommy, please don't overanalyze it. Just answer the question for what it's worth." And so that's something that I'm learning, and would say to folks who are stuck in the rut, who can't get out of it. It's not about you, first of all. It's about when you come in as a continuous improvement person, is what can you do to help that leader, that organization, and the employees. Put self aside. You know, sometimes we get caught up in our own self, you know. Well, I've done this for so long, and I have this degree and that degree. Yes, that's all good. But at the same time, do not let that prevent you from understanding what is the real problem here that you're trying to solve. Is it the correct problem that you're trying to solve? Because for me, that takes on a larger connotation. A lot of people are running around solving problems for organizations, but they're not solving the right problem. And that's where design thinking comes in place.
Lastly, what I'm really interested in, you have a lot of energy and passion around continuous improvement, but what really brings you the most joy about your continuous improvement practice?
what brings me greatest joy is I've worked with people who their own organizations gave up on them as a group of people and say they're the worst. You're wasting time dealing with them. And I've worked with a group in the past, and it's my story. I tell it all the time. Their cycle time was 0%, and there was a new product that came on the market that patients were waiting on, and they couldn't release the product to the supply chain because the testing in the lab was not being done. And I came in and asked them, what is the issue and what's going on? And everybody had their own idea of what it was. And we did a fishbone. I taught them how to use a fishbone, coached the leader, coached other senior people who stepped up and wanted to learn more. And this team in April, who was at 0% cycle time, went to 100% in September of the same year. That's a 5-month turnaround. And they didn't believe they could do it, but I showed them and help them to believe in themselves. It's like a flower opening up when you work with organizations and leaders and you see them blossom through your coaching as a continuous improvement expert.
Well, hey, y'all, if you are tired of the status quo, you want to see your organization bloom with radical innovation, you need to be in touch with Dr. Heather. You can reach her on LinkedIn and also on her website, montroseconsulting.net. So get in touch with her right now. Pause this, go to it, check her out. Thank you so much, Dr. Heather Johnson, for joining us today on CI in 5. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Sam, for having me.
Thanks for joining us for CI in 5, the place to get your shot at inspiration and wisdom to move you forward on your continuous improvement journey. And for more inspiration, join the Live on Purpose LinkedIn group. We are a diverse community that supports each other to find and live out our purpose every day. We would love to add your voice to our family. Join now by clicking the link in today's post. Until next time, when we invite another one of your favorite lean thinkers to share their CI in 5, stay calm and Kaizen.